To get back into our mixing process, let's open up our Bodhisattva sessions. And I want to talk about the next phase in kind of organization before we even get into processing or anything. So we've done kind of our color coding, we've set our levels in our panning, done our static mix, so to speak, aiming for, roughly -6, -4 if possible before we're going into the red, because we will be potentially adding EQ, and additive EQ is going to add to the overall amplitude or gain structure. Let's talk about groups. So we made a group in the last video, or I made a group, because I wanted to bring up all of the volume of everything, but maintain the same mix relationship or arc. So I didn't name this group. So I'm going to go back into groups here and modify groups. And you can see that basically everything but the master fader is in here. And I'm going to say all music, because this one is everything. It kind of comes by default. Okay, so to deselect or deactivate a group, you simply click on it, on the name. And I want to make another group. And I'm thinking about how I want to organize this session. We have two bass tracks, one the DI and the mic. So I'm going to highlight both of these, hit Command G, and I'm going to call this group bass. I want to talk about a few things that you see here, and then show you why, I would choose a group for this use and not necessarily for others. And that may change depending on the session. So you have the type here, and you can either group it for mixing, for editing, for mixing, or for both. And for this instance, I'm going to go ahead and use both. You can see that the two instruments here are those tracks. You can click on the attributes column, which is not really relevant for this, and the globals, which is, what things will be affected when you are doing your editing or your mixing in the groups. Or, for example, volume faders are selected. Mutes, so if I mute one, both will get muted. Panning, do you want everything to follow the same panning structure or moves? And in this instance, I'm keeping my bass in the center, so it's kind of irrelevant. And there's just other things that you can kind of group into that, whether it's your sends, the send level, send mutes, panning, etc. So we'll leave kind of these things out of the conversation, and we'll hit OK. And now we have a bass group. So I have volume control, I have mix, mute control. I don't have solo control. Let's go back and see if I can put that in, because there's no reason that I wouldn't necessarily want that. Solos. Okay, so there I can change that behavior, and you can always go back and change things as you see fit. Okay, so I have volume control. Now let's look at the edit window and see how I'm able to select, both tracks at once. If I come over to edit out this silence, I get it on both tracks. If I choose to edit out this silence and cut it, all my editing is done to both tracks. So because these two tracks are kind of so much in unison, a group may be the way to go. And it's quite simple. There you have it. That's a group.